Well, welcome back. First vlog of the year. Not through lack of trying, because it's beginning of April now, and I've been out a few times but just blanked, so didn't bother doing any vlogs. Started them but didn't carry on with them. That's not to say I won't blank today, but hopefully we can nick a fish. I'm on Crown Lakes on my syndicate, and yeah, not a lot's been happening on here. Got here this morning, I got here about 20 past 10, half past 10, something like that. There was only one other person here, so I actually dropped a bucket in the swim that I've ended up in, and thought I'd just take my time walking around the lake. When I got round to where the other guy had set up, he's a local guy, he was saying there's only been a couple of fish out all year so far, and to put that into context, Daryl Peck's done 12 nights on here this year, not had a fish. Spooner was over trying to do a Korda flog, and on the third day they gave up after he'd had one small fish on a zig. So yeah, it is a tough lake anyway. I've struggled on it last year, only had the one fish out of here, and you know, the aim is to do a bit more fishing on it this year. I didn't do a lot last year. So, as I say, I walked around the whole lake, never found any fish. So I've dropped into this swim. It's actually the car park swim, although it's called the bog, because the toilet's in the car park. So this is the nearest one to the bog. So yeah, so anyway, I've dropped in here. I've just, reasons being that there is some shallow water. Well, shallow is relevant. Shallow for this lake is, there's a couple of 12-foot areas that I found. Yeah, most of the lake's 30 to 40 foot of water. So I mean, that's one of the reasons it's so hard to fish on here. It's, if you put it into context, it's 16 acres. But you think most club waters are sort of 5 and 6 foot deep. This ranges from some swims, well, next swim along, it's 40 foot straight off the edge, and it goes up to 50 foot in the water. So whilst it's only got a surface area of 16 acres, you could times that by 5, so really you're looking at 80 acres worth of water we're fishing. So that's why it's hard to get on the fish and catch the fish here. But the plan is to yeah, just keep feeding the old bait in on some spots that I can get in. Changed baits this year. I've gone back to Carp Company. I've gone on the Icelandic Red, which is, well, shows how good a bait it is. I probably first used it 20 years ago and the recipe hasn't changed. So yeah, I'm on the Carp Company baiting team, so getting the bait for a good price, and hopefully get some fish. Hence the top, you know. The idea is to catch some fish and advertise their bait, if you like, and in return I'm getting it for a really good price. So yeah, so the plan today, as I say, I'm not putting too much bait in. The water is freezing, it is really cold. So, and again it's because of the volume of water in here why it's so cold. So yeah, I'm not putting too much bait out. Probably put, I don't know, 30, 40 baits in the right hand side here. I've got a nice 12-foot bit, and I've got a middle rod out. It's 60, maybe 70 yards out, close to some reeds, and I've just got a little 10-foot, but if you miss it and drop off the edge, it drops down to 30. But yeah, I'm on a 10-foot bit with some baits around it, albeit the coots are diving on it. And then I've put the other rod, at 85 yards, 13 foot of water. And again, that's another one. If you drop short, you're in 30 foot of water. But we'll see what happens. I've got 2 nights. So it's, as I say, it's early April, and hopefully I'll get back again. It's Easter next weekend. Maybe the following weekend I'll get back again for 2 nights. We'll just see. Originally I was going to come last week and this week, but last week we had, well, where I live, we had snow on the Friday, and then it was -1 at night for the next 3 nights, so I just didn't see the point of coming over here. But anyway, that's enough waffling for now. So yeah, hopefully we'll get a fish sometime in the next 48 hours. But I'll update the vlog maybe sometime tomorrow, even if I've not had anything, just with what's been going on and what's happened. So yeah, speak to you then. Well, welcome back. It's yeah, sort of 30 hours in now. It's a I was going to say it was a quiet night. It wasn't quiet, but there weren't any fish. It wasn't quiet because of the weather. Though not predicted, about 20 to 10. The biggest flash of lightning I've probably ever seen in my life. Lit up the whole sky, followed by a crack of thunder probably 5 minutes later. And then for the next 15 minutes the lightning got closer, the thunder got closer. And in the end the thunder was so close that it felt like the ground was shaking. And then as that passed over, we had 40 minutes of biblical rain. So definitely not what was forecast. But yeah, other than that, nothing happened. A very quiet night. So much so I woke up when the birds started singing, head under me quilt, thinking it was probably earlier than it was. It was actually 6 o'clock. Poked my head out, thinking how nice a night I'd had and how warm it was. Frost everywhere. As soon as I breathed out, all my breath was coming out. So yeah, even though I was only under an umbrella, it's my sleeping bag inside my sleeping bag and a blanket on top definitely did the job and kept me warm. Yeah, I left the rods out, and just before, I guess it was just before 9 o'clock, the otter that's in here was literally 2 rod lengths out in front of me, just rolled. There's certainly been one otter in here all the time I've fished it. When Korda took the lake over, there were lots of otters in here, and they humanely trapped them and released them into the wild. But at some point just before, well, it's probably 18 months ago now, one otter got back in. It is only a small one, but nevertheless it's an otter in here that's, although there's no evidence, it must be getting the odd fish or two, otherwise it would be starving. And yeah, whether they ever managed to catch that otter and get rid of it, who knows. But yeah, it's not what you want to see when you're a fisherman, an otter in your swim. So that aside, I haven't seen anything. It turned really chilly from about 11 o'clock. It was like a meal pour at 9 o'clock this morning, flat calm, and that's just as the wind was about to turn, I guess. And yeah, I've seen that on various other lakes. Just before a new wind, the lake will go flat calm. But yeah, once the wind picked up and the westerlies blowing right into me, hence why I've got the coat on. I've had my hood up most of the day. It's been pretty cold on here, but nonetheless, you know, I've recast all 3 rods now, but all 3 rods were fishing well. The pop-up was popped up. The snowman was still sitting as a snowman, and the wafter was still wafting. So all 3 baits were fishing as they should be. They're back out on the same spots again, but as I say, I've not seen any fish. You know, the good thing, the sun's been up all day, so my theory is if the fish go into the slightly shallower water, that's where I am fishing. Yeah, I'm the only one left on here now. The other 5 who fished tonight have all gone. Nobody caught anything, so I've decided I'm not going to do another night. You know, going on local knowledge and what I was told yesterday from the guy who lives local, currently there's nothing coming out at night, so I don't see the point of sitting for another night. Had I had a fish sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock this morning, I would have said, yeah, do another night in case you can have one tomorrow morning, but that hasn't been the case. So I shall have a slow pack down, and I'll leave the rods out till 7:30, 8 o'clock, just before dark. I shall pull off, and obviously if I have anything before now and then, I will update the vlog and put it in here. But otherwise, hopefully I'm back in 2 weeks' time, and yeah, give it another go and wrap up April on Embryo Crown Lake, and then I'll put it out on YouTube, hopefully with a fish or 2. But that's the plan. So unless I have a fish later, I'm going to call it a day for this weekend's vlog, and update it in 2 weeks' time when I'm back again. So see you then. Okay, welcome back then. So yeah, as I said at the end of the last one, it's it's still April, back down on Crown Lakes. See if we can nick a fish. I mean, the water's warmed up a bit now, and the odd fish has come out. Apparently 3 fish came out last weekend. Again, none of the big ones, but at least they're starting to move. So, like the previous time, got here about 10:30, maybe a little bit earlier actually, and had a little walk around looking for fish. There was one other car in the car park, which is the same chap who was here last time when I was here. I think he does every Friday. And yeah, I walked around, hadn't seen any fish, and then he's down in the far corner along that way, where you've got a easterly, northeasterly blowing into there. I was chatting to him, he'd seen the odd fish down there, and one showed why I was in his swim, talking to him. Carried on walking, went up into the other corner where the wind is still heading that way. I think the lake is quite, or not quite shallow. There are, like this corner I'm in and the corner I was in last time, there are some shallow plateaus in there. And yeah, the fish may be following the wind. That said, it's not a new wind, so I don't know. I've dropped back into the swim where, if you watched last year's vlogs, I actually caught a fish from this swim. It's called Flynn's, and 2 of the spots I'm fishing are the same. It's a little left underarm flick, got 10 foot of water, it's 6.5 wraps out towards an island and some reeds on the right, but you can't get too close to the reeds. If you get too close, you just get snagged up all the time. There's like loads of big bricks and lumps of concrete in there. You just can't get as close as you want to get. If you didn't know, you'd cast out, you'd probably sit here all day thinking, yep, I've got to get a bite there, I'm right against the reeds. And if you do get a bite, you're not going to catch it because your lead and everything is stuck, you're all jammed up. So yeah, you just have to come out a bit. As I say, it's a nice little chuck, 6.5 wraps, hardly anything. So I've put a bit of pellet on there, quite a lot of pellet, a bit of boilie, and a little pop up on there. The left-hand spot where I caught the fish from last time was, or not last time, the last time I was in this swim. What have I put there? I've put about ½ kilo of boilie on it. And again, straight away the coots and ducks are on it. Yeah, you've just got to keep your eye on it. I've got one of those tufty torches, so I will just keep shining that on it, and they definitely work. Don't know why, but they do work. So that should keep them off of it until the night time. Speaking to the chap earlier this morning, the fish that did come out all come out in the daytime, and so he's doing the same as me. He's doing a night and then up until early evening tomorrow, and he's chipping off, and that's what I'll do. If the fish aren't feeding in the night, there's not really any point doing a second night when you've got to get off early on the Sunday morning anyway. So that's the plan. And at least this time I'll be able to have a cup of coffee whenever I wanted. Last time I was here, I don't know why or how even, the kettle sprung a leak, and it was a case of putting the kettle on the cooker at an angle so the leak was at the back, and getting it dripped before, getting it boiled before it all dripped out. When it's slow drip when the water was cold, but the hotter the water got, the quicker the dripping was happening. So as I say, I've got a new kettle now, so at least I can have a cup of coffee as and when I want. So I'll update the vlog as we go along, really. Be nice to say I'm going to update it later today with a fish, but I'll definitely update it tomorrow morning. If I haven't had a fish, I'll update it anyway, but hopefully I'm updating it with a fish, and I'll speak to you then. Well, good morning. Just thought I'd do a little update. It's 6:30 now. I've been up since 5 o'clock. By 5:15 the lake was, yeah, it was bright enough to, I did a little video just to show how the lake was looking this morning. The wind had turned slightly more northeasterly. It's lovely and calm in front of me. Very quiet night. Never heard any fish crashing, apart from a bit of wildlife in front of me. Not sure, something ran across the swim, but it was huge. in the middle of the night. I just got a glimpse of it as it shot off into the bushes there. And it may even have been the otter that lives on here. So it was big enough to be that. But yeah, apart from that, very quiet night, no fish crashing. And I've not seen a fish since I woke up this morning. As I say, that's 5 o'clock. You know, one fish showed just before dark, not that far off my right hand rod, to be honest, probably 20 yards away. So, what I've done this morning, I've just thrown in 20 boilies, one at a time, on my close spot, so as not to make any disturbance. I've put out about 50 boilies just by a catapult on that right hand rod, quite spread out, just so if there's fish in the area, hopefully it comes across one, eats it, comes across another, and that encourages it to keep moving around and hopefully find my bait. And I have recast the middle rod, which is the solid PVA bag, simply because, you know, I think early morning is definitely a feeding time, if they're going to feed, and being that's just a small PVA bag of pellet, isn't it? So the pellet would have dissolved by now. So just put a new PVA bag out there, and we'll see what happens. I mean, like I say, it's 6:30 now, so I think if we get to 9 o'clock and we haven't had a run, then it's looking less likely. 10 o'clock, I'd say it's looking very unlikely, and then I may just put a zig out on one rod for the remainder of the day. Yeah, don't know. As I say, it's a challenging lake. It certainly beats me up. I said before, I've only had one fish last year, so we'll see what happens the rest of the day. As I say, this is going to be a flog April on Crown Lakes, so I will finish the flog up before I go, hopefully with a fish. Hopefully I'm a couple of hours time I'm resetting up the video, and we've got a fish, never mind another fish, we've got a fish on the bank. But yeah, that's it for now. I just thought I'd get the old flog updated slightly. I was hoping with a fish, but yeah, whack the kettle on, have a coffee, and see you in a bit. Okay, well, gonna wrap the flog up now. It's only 3 o'clock, but yeah, nothing's happened. Fish was showing earlier this morning, but out in 40 and 50 foot of water. They're not feeding out there. I did try a zig out there for a while, and yeah, nothing. There's only one person left on here now, but I've actually spoken to everyone who's on here, because the others who have all gone, they had never caught anything, and the guy who's still on here has just walked past, so went up to his car to get something, and he had one yesterday, £15. So yeah, what can you say? I think at the start of it, it's not an easy lake, and the fact everybody struggles doesn't make it better that you fished here, but it sort of doesn't make you feel so bad that you're doing something wrong. You know, as I always say, bring the rigs in, as long as they're sitting as they should sit, bait still on them, not tangled. You can't do more than that. You've put in a place, you know, one of my rigs has been where fish have been showing very early this morning, but that's not had a tang, that hasn't moved. That's been out there for 27 hours now, so as to not disturb the water. So plus side from this trip, my new kettle's really good, boils really quick, so that'll save me some gas. But yeah, I haven't really learned anything on this trip, I've got to say, other than what I always learn. It's not just me struggling, everyone struggles. The guy who I've just spoke to, who's still here, he was saying this time last year it fished really well in May, so maybe we've just been unlucky. But you know, with the 3 fish out last weekend and he's 1 fish yesterday, so that's 7 fish have been out this year. So at some point it's going to switch on, and I'll keep doing a monthly flog on here, although there probably won't be one in May because I'm off to France for a week and that uses up 2 weekends, so I probably won't get on here. But yeah, I'll keep going with it, and so anyone who may be thinking of joining this syndicate gets a feel for the lake and hopefully gives them a little bit of knowledge before they get here. So thanks for watching, and see you in the future.